Hello, and thank you for choosing Revivenode. Today, I'll be explaining how to import your server files either to a new or pre-existing server. There are many ways you can do this, such as through the file manager, or going through your SFTP details, which we already have in a separate video, or if you plan to either import it from a different server hosting or from another or old Minecraft server within our panel, you can simply use the import server button. For this example, I will be explaining how to do it from an old Minecraft server to a new one from our panel, but it's the same process if you do it from a different server hosting or any VPS or panel machine you may have. Just ensure that you have the proper storage for the new server that you plan to import. As mine is only a test, I roughly have about 200 megabytes with more than enough space to import it. The best way to explain all this is please ensure you watch the video once and then try to replicate it so that you do not come upon any errors or any issues down the line. We will be starting off with the new server which we will import it to. This server has basic files which we do not care about nor will be using. So now that I have that explained, let's head over to the settings tab. Here we can click on import server, and this is where we start providing all the information that we need. We can go over to our old server, go into settings, and here we have some of the details that we need. For example, the username, so we can start putting in all our information. What we'll start with is the server type. This is either FTP or SFTP. The only times you will probably use this if you're on a different hosting, but if you're with us, it's always going to be SFTP. But if you're on a different server hosting and they may sometimes require FTP, you can contact them about it on which they use. But for this, we'll stay with SFTP. Next thing we're going to need is our username. I'm going to our old server and I'm going to copy the username right here and paste it in. Afterwards, I need to type in the password of the old server. So again, if you're on a different hosting, it needs to be a password of that hosting. In this case, it's going to be the same password that I'm currently on. Next thing is going to be the server IP. For this, we can just copy our server address. You can also copy your server IP address. To make it simpler for others, what we'll do is just copy this, but you can use your server address. The only part you would need though is na22.revivenode.com. This may vary depending on what machine you're on, but you will not require the port or the additional text beforehand. But again, to make it easy, we'll just use the server's IP directly. You do not need to put any port, just the server's IP. For the port, however, we're going to be using 2022, as that is a SFTP port. If you're using FTP, it's going to be 21. And we have some small options we can change. So we can choose which files we want to take. So we can choose which folder we directly want to take from. We're just going to take all of it, so we do not need to put any information. And where do we want to put all those folders that we're going to download into the new server? Again, I'm going to keep it the way it is, and I do want to delete all the files as I will not be using any of them. You do have the option of selecting not to delete them in case you do want to keep your current files and if you're going to be moving into a new folder. But again, for this case, I'm going to be deleting all of them. All I have to do now is click import server. It'll start loading up and it will inform me that the process has started. This may take anywhere from a couple of minutes up to an hour depending on how large your server files are. All right, once all the files have been imported, you'll have direct access to your server again. So we can go into our file manager, and here you'll see we have all the files downloaded. I even added a plugin to show that it fully worked, which is just via version. I never loaded it up, but if we come in here, go into file manager and go into plugins, you can see it is actually the same exact file size and everything. However, one thing I did not inform you was we really recommend you have your old server on offline mode completely. This way it does not generate any new files that may get corrupted along the upload process. So just ensure you turn it off and import it in correctly. But after that, that's really all it takes to import your server over to Revivenode. We hope this video was informative. If you guys like to see any other tutorials, please let us know. Other than that, we hope you have an amazing day and thank you for choosing Revivenode.